Hello, Professor. Do you still have a few minutes left in your office hours?
Absolutely. What do you have on your mind?
Well, I have a question about evolution. Specifically, about directional selection.
Ah, directional selection. One of my favorite topics. What would you like to know?
What is the mechanism by which directional selection works?
Well, as you know, directional selection is one of the three main types of selective mechanisms, the others being stabilizing and disruptive selection. Directional selection occurs when in a population, a single phenotype or observable quality is favored.
Wow!
Indeed, when directional selection is applied, the frequency of an allele, or gene encoding region, in the population gradually increases. In fact, if directional selection were to favor a recessive allele, that allele would eventually become fixed in the population.
So, how does directional selection happen in real life? Can you provide me with an example?
Sure. Take the deer mice of the southwestern United States. There are two phenotypes for the deer mice, black fur and tan fur. Across their habitat, there are two different types of stone, dark and sandy. In the sandy environment, there is a strong directional selection for the tan fur phenotype, as it is harder for predators to see the mice. And the opposite is true for the darker stone areas. Thus, through in each of the two regions, there is directional selection pushing the phenotype expression of either dark or tan fur.
Super freaking cool. However, I don't think I'm fully grasping the concept. Could you provide me with another example?
Sure. Directional selection can also occur when new environmental pressures are presented to a population, either through population migration or through weather changes. Take the finches of South America. During the weather cycle of El Niño and La Niña, the seeds of plants also cycle between harder and softer phenotypes. This cycling of the food supply for the finches causes directional selection of the population's beak size. During the season of El Niño, the wet years, the seeds are softer, and the finches with the smaller beaks are selected for their higher fitness, and directional selection occurs to that phenotype.
Wow, Professor, I feel like I now understand directional selection.
Just remember that directional selection only acts between generations in a population and differs substantially from the other modes of natural selection, stabilizing selection where the average phenotype is favored, and disruptive selection where the two extreme phenotypes of a population are favored.
Thank you, Professor.
Not a problem, young lad.